Today, we stand at a crucial turning point in India's economic journey. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has once again sent out a strong and clear message to every Indian citizen. Support domestic manufacturing, buy Indian-made products, and strengthen the nation from within. This message comes at a time when global geopolitics is shifting rapidly. The United States has imposed a 50% tariff on Indian exports, particularly targeting sectors like textiles, gems, chemicals, and leather goods. These tariffs are expected to impact millions of jobs and shake up India's export-driven economy. But instead of bowing down to this external pressure, Prime Minister Modi has chosen a different path, a path of self-reliance, resilience, and national pride. Let's break down why this call from the Prime Minister matters, why it could reshape India's future, and what challenges lie ahead. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll see why this movement isn't just about economics, it's about India's destiny in the 21st century. For decades, India's growth story has relied heavily on exports to Western countries. The United States, in particular, has been a key market for Indian goods. But with these heavy tariffs, it is becoming clear that dependency on a single major market is dangerous. Prime Minister Modi's response is not just a reaction, it is a vision. He is telling Indians, if the world tries to restrict us, we must become stronger from within. Think about it. Every time an Indian buys a locally made product instead of an imported one, money circulates inside the country. Factories employ more people. Farmers find new markets for their produce. Small businesses grow. And ultimately, the nation becomes less dependent on foreign powers. This isn't the first time Modi has given such a call. Back in 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he launched the famous Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, or the Self-Reliant India mission. At that time, global supply chains had collapsed and India realized how vulnerable it was. But from that crisis emerged an opportunity. Today, India is producing more electronics, more defense equipment, and more industrial goods than ever before. But here's the twist. The current call for buying Indian-made products isn't just about self-reliance anymore. It's also about geopolitical survival. With U.S. tariffs threatening India's export markets, supporting domestic industries has become a national security imperative. Let's dive deeper into the economic angle. India's MSME sector, micro, small and medium enterprises, employs over 110 million people. These are the small factories producing garments, jewelry, leather, auto parts, and countless other products. The U.S. tariffs are hitting them the hardest. Without exports, many of these businesses could collapse. But if domestic consumers step in, if ordinary Indians choose to buy Indian-made goods, then these businesses can survive and even thrive. Take textiles as an example. India has always been one of the largest textile exporters in the world. From sarats, saris to Terrapers t-shirts, Indian fabric is loved across the globe. But now, with tariffs cutting access to foreign buyers, these manufacturers need Indians themselves to fill the demand gap. Imagine if every Indian made it a point to wear Indian clothes, not just occasionally, but as a lifestyle choice. The industry would boom overnight. Similarly, the gems and jewelry sector employs millions of artisans, many of whom are facing job losses. If Indians prioritize buying handcrafted jewelry made in Jaipur, Surat, or Kolkata instead of imported luxury brands, the domestic market could keep these artisans afloat. This is why Modi's message is powerful. It's not just about patriotism, it's about saving livelihoods. Now, let's talk about the geopolitical layer. Why did the United States suddenly double tariffs on India? The official reason is India's continued purchase of Russian oil. Despite Western sanctions, India has maintained its energy partnership with Russia, buying oil at discounted rates. This helps India keep inflation under control and fuel affordable. But it has angered Washington, which wants countries to isolate Moscow. India, however, has made it clear, our national interest comes first. New Delhi is not going to sacrifice affordable energy for the sake of pleasing Western powers. But this stance comes with consequences, and the tariffs are one of them. This is why Modi's domestic manufacturing push is not just economic policy, a shield against geopolitical blackmail. If India reduces dependence on exports to the West, then tariffs lose their power as a weapon. But here's a question many of you might be asking. Can Indians really change their buying habits? After all, imported products have long been seen as aspirational. From foreign clothing brands to luxury cars to international gadgets, many Indians associate imports with quality and status. So how realistic is Modi's call? The answer lies in two things: quality and pride. If Indian companies can produce high-quality products that rival imports, consumers will naturally shift. We've already seen this with mobile phones. A decade ago, India imported nearly all its smartphones. Today, thanks to domestic manufacturing push, India is assembling and even producing many of its own devices. Apple, Samsung, and countless others are now manufacturing in India. This has created jobs and reduced imports. The second factor is national pride. When people feel that buying local is a way of supporting the nation, they are more likely to do it. We saw this during the Swadeshi movement before independence. Indians boycotted British goods and bought khadi and local products as an act of resistance. Today, Modi is invoking the same spirit, not against colonialism, but against economic dependency. Let's take a quick reality check. What are the challenges? First, not all Indian products are competitive yet. In certain high-tech sectors, India still relies on imports. For example, advanced semiconductors, aviation technology, and certain medical equipment are still sourced from abroad. It will take time before India can fully replace imports in these areas. Second, changing consumer behavior is never easy. People are used to certain foreign brands, and breaking that habit requires consistent campaigns, incentives, and maybe even government policies like tax breaks for local products. Third, global retaliation cannot be ignored. If India pushes too aggressively to reduce imports, other nations may see it as protectionism. Balancing self-reliance with open global trade will be tricky. Now, let's analyze the political dimension. For Modi, this message is also about narrative. Ahead of upcoming elections, talking about domestic manufacturing resonates deeply with Indian voters. It combines nationalism, economic growth, and job creational themes that appeal to the masses. By urging citizens to support local products, Modi is reinforcing his image as a leader who puts India first. This also strengthens his political capital in the face of global challenges. It tells the world India will not bend under pressure. We will grow stronger on our own terms. But here's where the story gets really interesting: the global reaction. Countries like China have been watching closely. Beijing knows that if India successfully builds a culture of domestic consumption and manufacturing, it could become a serious competitor in global markets. Remember, China itself followed this path decades ago. In the 1980s and 90s, China encouraged its citizens to buy domestic products, built massive factories, and then gradually took over global exports. Today, China is the factory of the world. India could follow a similar trajectory, but with its own twist. Unlike China, India is a democracy with a massive domestic market. If Indians themselves become the biggest consumers of Indian products, the economy could grow rapidly without depending too heavily on exports. As we conclude this deep dive, let's remember one thing. History has shown that great nations are built not just by leaders, but by the choices of their people. From the Swadeshi movement of the 1900s to the Atmanirbhar Bharat of today, India's destiny has always been shaped by the collective will of its citizens. Prime Minister Modi's call is clear. The opportunity is in front of us. The responsibility lies with us, and the future belongs to us. So the next time you choose between an imported product and an Indian-made one, Remember, you are not just a consumer, you are a nation builder. And that, my friends, is the true meaning of Modi's call to support domestic manufacturing.